Welcome to the In-Between, where shift happens. This podcast is for anybody who has ever found themselves in that space in between what was and what's going to be. That space where life happens. The moment between where we are and where we're going. That space that is often uncomfortable to sit in. The stuff of life, the ups, the downs, the moments of connection and insight, and the moments where we can't see two steps in front of us. We will ask all the questions, maybe find some answers, and generally work at being okay in the mystery of the in-between.
And here we are.
Here we are.
In-between. Finally, in the in-between.
Finally, what do you mean? We're here all the time.
Lord, we've been living in the in-between. We know where life is, right?
That is. It is.
It's the in-between, not the little, the little goalpost moments that we like to think that life is, but the life is the in-between. All the squishy stuff, the squidgy middle.
Yeah. I feel like an expert at goalpost life living. When I hit that marker.
Yeah.
That'll be it.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be like a fun little adventure on exploring all the in-between, like where life happens, where shift happens, where all sorts of things happen and kind of how that plays out in our lives. So I'm excited about it. How about you?
Yeah, I'm really excited because I think we're at a point in history where this is so necessary. It's so necessary to evaluate that, like, in the middle stage. And maybe it always has been. I don't know. Maybe it really always has been. It just feels so like this is the thing right now for society, because I think we've spent a long time, decades, if not longer, avoiding looking at that middle. Everything has always been like the checklists. Like, if you do these things, you'll make it. You'll have the dream. If it looks like this. And so we've kind of put up like that facade, or the, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, good. I'm living the dream, whatever, like that.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, those like factory responses that we've learned. And I think we tend to not look in the middle, looking where life is happening, where it's not always living the dream, which is fine. And I think that's it for me. It's like this, for me, allows me and us and you, right? Like, I think this conversation allows anybody to be in that space and realize it's okay.
Well, it gives the opportunity to look like at the things that we don't always want to look at, or the things that aren't easy to look at. And are the things that we know we need to look at, and we're like, well, when I get to that. And so I think that what's going to be fun about these conversations is it's not only talking about the things, but it's like, okay, now we've got the things out of the closet or out from underneath the bed, whatever, wherever you hide your things. And then we'd be like, okay, now what do we do? And then we get to like talk about that. We get to talk about like the joy of that, and sometimes the terror of that, and sometimes the challenge of that. And so I think that is important to have these conversations, because we're not alone. And sometimes we think we're like hanging out here doing our own thing, but we're not. And so I think that's going to be what's really fun about these conversations, that nothing is off limits, which I mean, very rarely are things off limits with us anyway, but nothing's off limits. Like, we're just laying it out there, and how can we learn and grow and explore and laugh, cry, and all the things with each other in these conversations. And I think what's going to be really fun is inviting all sorts of folks into our room, into our lovely house.
That's right.
Here, and getting to not only explore our own experiences, but like everybody's experience, because everyone has such amazing experiences, and we can learn from each other. And this is kind of our way of exploring that. So this is going to be super fun.
Isn't that it too? Like, there's so many angles to this idea of the in-between, right? And I think we're going to hit all of them at some point. But I think that's it too, where like when life is goalposts and mile markers, everyone's life is supposed to look the same.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, never, ever does it, because we don't actually ever hit, even when we hit the mile marker, there's always a next thing, right? And so I think peeking into life from all of these different perspectives is going to be huge. And also learning to be okay in that place. Like
Yeah.
that's where we're at, right? I mean, it's kind of like retirement, and this maybe is a really great example of the whole conversation, right? If the goal of working is to reach retirement, you work so that you can retire. Like, well, wait a minute. We're missing that whole chunk of time. Like, I mean, yeah, like retirement is great. You know, let's all be able to retire or whatever happens when we hit that point. But um if we're not like living now, you know, if we're waiting till until we retire to live, then we're like missing the point.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, right? It's like it's not always going to be the joyous occasion, the happy moment every moment, but learning how to be okay living all of those moments, then I think does create this overarching sensation of joy and okayness with the whole thing, you know.
Well, yeah, and I think it's about authenticity, it's about vulnerability, it's about connection, about community, belonging, all the things, and really tapping into the beauty of life, especially when it's experienced through those particular sorts of experiences. And so not only creating that for our own lives, but like everyone around us, because I don't know if you've noticed or not, there are other people besides you and me. And so that, yeah. And so beginning to learn from that. So that's what this is going to be about. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for these conversations that we're going to have. I'm so excited. I don't know, just from the things that we're going to learn and explore and all the craziness that is going to happen, and who knows what's going to happen, but I'm really excited for this conversation, and I'm super excited for season 1 because this is just the appetizer, folks, right? This is just the appetizer. And so we are so excited for this first season of the In Between, where shift happens. And so stay tuned for season 1.
Nobody really enjoys being in the in-between, but thanks for being here anyway. We may not have found all of the answers, but certainly some, and maybe more importantly, a little shift has happened. Because that is really what it's all about, learning to be curious, authentic, and yes, maybe even a tad bit vulnerable. And the beauty of it all is that we are not alone in the in-between. So until next time, we hope a lot of shift happens.